Once again, thank you for joining us for Ask Chuck webcast. It's weekly while we're in session. Next week we'll not be in Washington, D.C. because of Memorial Day recess. So I'll be home in Iowa speaking at cemeteries on Memorial Day, doing other things in Iowa as well. We'll have 2 weeks from today, we'll do another Ask Chuck webcast. So I ask that you continue to send your questions in to us. What we don't answer on the webcast, we'll answer through the mail or email. I go to the first question from Facebook. Philip of Des Moines says, I'm not happy with Freddie and Fannie's situation. They need to be stopped and reconsidered. Philip, I agree with you 100%. And that 100% agreement with you was voted this way by me last week when I voted for the McCain Amendment to the Financial Regulatory Reform Bill that was up because, you know, there needs to be some reform of Wall Street, but Fannie and Freddie are almost as much of a cause of the financial bubble and the resultant recession that we have now, and so I thought that they ought to be included the same way as Wall Street. But that amendment lost, as I said. The reason it lost is because on the other side of the aisle, most of that political party wants to use Freddie and Fannie as an instrument to nationalize credit for housing, and that's best expressed in the percentage of about 90-some% of all the mortgages are secondary marketed through Fannie and Freddie. But Fannie and Freddie are a major cause of the financial crisis that we're in, and they ought to be reformed as you suggested in your question. The next question comes from Facebook. David from Cedar Rapids says, why did you guys let the Mexican president have the floor in the House to badmouth Arizona? The Speaker of the House, Pelosi, makes a decision when you're going to have guest speakers like heads of state. And of course, I can understand why you were irritated with what was said about Arizona, so let me tell you how I responded to that statement. Whereas on one side of the House chamber, everybody stood up and applauded, very few people on our side of the House chamber, including this senator, did not stand up and applaud that statement. I had an opportunity to give an interview on Hispanic radio after the speech, and I said, whereas the Mexican president has probably done more than other presidents to cooperate with us on the war on drugs, I did resent very much his taking exception to the state of Arizona and what they were doing, because I felt Arizona was doing what the federal government ought to be doing and wasn't doing, protecting our borders so that murderers can't come into Arizona and murder Arizona ranchers. So when the federal government's not doing its job under the 10th Amendment and the police powers of the various states, Arizona's doing the right thing. In other words, I would expect the sheriff of Butler County, Iowa, where I live, to protect me if my life was endangered, or the local police, and so the same thing in Arizona. It's not right that he criticized, and I resented it very much and said so on that interview. I always finish these webcasts by telling you what's coming up. We still have a couple votes today to instruct conferees on the regulatory reform bill that's now going to iron out the difference between the House and Senate in a conference committee. And then later on this week, probably yet tomorrow, we're going to be starting discussion and votes and amendments on the supplemental appropriation bill. I invite you to listen in 2 weeks from now. As I said, we're in recess next week for Memorial Day. Thank you all very much for listening.